No one wants to do production deployment during a weekend. In order to do production releases on a weekday, we will have to perform no downtime deployments. Let's see what is blue-green deployment and implement a blue-green deployment scenario using the Pivotal Web Services or Pivotal Cloud Foundry. Let's get started. Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss any updates from Tech Timers. Before getting into the implementation of the blue-green deployment inside Cloud Foundry, we need to understand the routing principles of the Cloud Foundry and we need to understand how we can perform blue-green deployments using that. Let's consider an application called the production app, which we have running inside the Pivotal Web Services, and the version of this particular application is 1.0. This is the production copy which is running, and in order to access this application, we will be using the URL cicd-production.cfapps.io. cfapps.io is where our Cloud Foundry instance is hosted, and cicd-production is the host name of this particular instance. So just to understand the internals of how these URL is linked to our application, so Cloud Foundry has something called HA proxies. So these are the three different IP addresses which will be faced to the external clients. So if you're doing an NS lookup on CF apps, you might find three different IP addresses. These are for load balancing purpose. So these are software load balancers which are just HA proxies. So they will be helping the Cloud Foundry instance from getting denial of service attacks and all other checks. Underneath the HA proxy lies the Go router. The Go router has the mapping of the CI/CD production with the production app version 1.0. The Go router has internal mappings of where is the production app version 1 deployed and on which port it is running and what is the mapped URL or the route. So we call it route. Just for the sake of the discussion, let's ignore all the instances of HA proxies and Go routers and have only one instance so that we can have a clear understanding of how the routing happens inside the platform. By default, when we push an application with a host name, a route gets created. So in our example, CI/CD-production got created because we pushed our application by default with this particular route. In order to perform our blue-green deployment, the production version of the application is called blue. As the color suggests, the version 1.0 is the blue deployment, and we are going to add a new name to that application and call it as CI/CD blue. So you can do that by using a CLI, the CF CLI. You can have a map route command. So we are going to do that after the explanation of this concept. So we are going to create the CI/CD blue URL and the CI/CD production URL for this application. So you can access this application with two different URLs, one with CI/CD blue, the other with CI/CD production. So the downstreams might be using your application with CI/CD production, but they won't even know that there is a URL called CI/CD blue because that is internal for us. We are going to use it for blue-green deployment. Once the production app is running, we call it as blue. Now we need to deploy a new version of the application. We are going to call this application as green. So CI/CD green is the name we are giving to this particular application, and the version of this particular application is 2.0. We are going to deploy this freshly as a new instance with a new URL, basically a new host name. So nobody knows that there is a new instance which is deployed, and this won't interrupt the existing production version, which is the blue version. So what we are going to do as a part of the green is we are going to run all our smoke test, functional test, and the UI test and whatnot, right? We are going to run all these tests in the green instance and make sure the green instance is good. So once we confirm that the green instance is good, we are going to create a new mapping from the CI production onto the green instance. So we are going to add green onto the same CI/CD production route. So which basically means all the blue, green, and CI/CD production are linked together. However, CI/CD production is pointing to blue and green, both. So basically half the traffic will be routed to green and half the traffic will be routed to blue, because by default the Pivotal Cloud Foundry platform does round robin fashion. Once the green instance is good, we are going to remove the mapping of blue from the CI production. So what's happening is blue has its own name called CI/CD blue. However, the routing rule of CI/CD production has been removed from blue, which basically means all the requests are getting redirected to green. Now the blue becomes stale, right? So we are going to have green as the production version, and we are going to remove blue. So once the blue is removed, now we need to rename the green black to blue. That way, this becomes our production copy, and we can remove our CI/CD blue URL and have the CI/CD production as our version. So this is how we can do a blue-green deployment. So the platform will help us in doing it by using the Go router. So Go router helps us in creating aliases for a particular instance, and using these aliases we can play around by doing blue-green deployment. So in this video I'm going to show you by creating manual commands and deploying it into the Cloud Foundry instance. In the next video I'll show you how you can do that as a part of Jenkins pipeline and automate it. So let's get into the console. So I am inside run.pivotal.io. Let me log into this Pivotal web service instance. Right now, if you notice, there are no apps which are running. There is empty space here, so there is no quota. I mean, there is nothing which is running for us, right? So we have 0 apps. I'm going to have the same example which we saw as a part of CI/CD Jenkins example in the last video. We are going to have the same example. However, I'm going to add a new REST endpoint just to show which app is blue and which app is green, right? I'll just add a new controller called blue controller. So we're going to return blue app version 1.0. We are going to build this particular artifact. Let me go to the POM XML and name this particular artifact as CI/CD-blue-app. So we are going to deploy this particular blue app. So I'm going to name this as CI/CD blue, and let's rename this as well here in the manifest file. So if you're not sure about how to use manifest file and stuff like that, go to my video on Pivotal Cloud Foundry. You can take a look at that to understand why do we need manifest and stuff like that. So I'm going to use the manifest file, which is the blue. So manifest.yaml, I'm just naming the application as CI/CD blue, and I have given the name of this particular jar as CI/CD blue. I'll just rename this, right? So that is the name I have given. Let me build this particular jar. Meanwhile, I'll try to log into the CFCLI, the Cloud Foundry CLI, when the build is going to build. So let me open my command line interface in IntelliJ. I'm going to use the CF login command and log in into the API. The api.run.pivotal.io is the API to log into the Pivotal instance. And I'm going to give my username as info@techprimers.com. So this will connect our API with the CLI by logging into this specific instance. So we are logged into the CFCLI, and let's do CF apps to see what are the different apps which are running. Right now there are no apps. See that that's what this says as well. No apps found. Let's check if the build is successful. Yep, the build is successful. Let's deploy our application. Now when we deploy this application, it will be deployed as blue, right? So this is the first production copy. However, we need to create a routing rule for it, right? So we need to create a CI/CD production, right? So let's check if we are able to upload blue, and then we will create a route. I'll show you how you can create it using CF map route. So CF map route is the command with which you can create a alias. Basically, this is the new alias which you can create to access this application. So let's first deploy the blue and then see. In the Cloud Foundry console, you should be able to see this app getting deployed. Yeah, see that there is something which is getting allocated in my development space. CI/CD blue is present, and right now the route is only CI/CD blue. If I go to the CI/CD option, there is a tab called route, and if I click on the route, I can see different mapping routes, and you can even map a route from the UI. I'll show you from the command line interface. So the application is coming up. Let's hit the URL and see if it is up. It's still not up. Yeah, right now it's up. So we have created a REST endpoint called version, and this version shows what is the version of this blue app, right? So it is called blue app hyphen v1.0. So this is what we created. Now we are going to create a new alias called as CI/CD production. So let's use the cf CLI. So the command for doing that is cf map hyphen route, and we need to give the application which we need to route. So the application which we need to route is blue, and the domain where it is present. So cfapps.io is the domain where we have the application running, and what is the destination name we want to map it to. So we are going to map it to CI/CD production. So this route is going to be created with CI/CD production to the blue. So now we should be able to access the same blue app with the name CI/CD production. So let's open a new tab and then rename this blue to production and see what is the version which we are getting. So the same version is getting displayed. The blue app is getting displayed. And if you go to the console and if you refresh this particular option, we should be able to see two routes. See this, there are two routes, CI/CD production and CI/CD blue. So we have created an alias for our current blue application, and we have given downstreams the CI/CD hyphen production. Now if you want to add a change to our application, so we are going to add a change to our application by renaming this blue controller into green controller. We are not going to change the endpoint, the REST endpoint. However, the value is going to be changed. We are going to change this to green version 2.0, and let's create a new manifest file. I'll create a new manifest file called manifest-green, and inside that I'll create the name CI/CD green, and also I'll give the path as CI/CD green. I'll change my POM to CI/CD green, and let's build this artifact now. So once we build it, under the target, if you see, there is already CI/CD blue. Now if we build it, this should build CI/CD green. So the build is successful, and I'm going to deploy using the cf push command, and I'm going to use the manifest green. So we have created a new manifest file called manifest green. So let's use this new manifest file. So I'll be pushing the artifact green with the name CI/CD-green. So now if we go to the console, we can see only one application right now in our org space, and automatically see that the green is getting pushed. That's what it says. Already the green is getting pushed. See the creating app. So the green is getting created. So we have a CI/CD blue which has two routes, CI/CD production and CI/CD blue, and now we have a new application which is getting deployed, which is called the CI/CD green. So let this green get deployed, and the next step is to create a route again to the production for the green. So the CI/CD green got deployed. Now in order to check the route for the CI/CD green, let's go to the console. See that there is a route created. By default there is only one route, and the name of the route is CI/CD green. Now we need to add the new route, the CI/CD production, to this green as well. So we are going to use the same map route command, and the name of the route is CI/CD. Name of the application is CI/CD green, and the domain name is cfapps.io. The host name, the alias which we need is CI/CD production. So we are going to create a new routing role to the existing CI/CD production. So we are going to point green also to it. So notice that you already get a notification saying CI/CD production already exists. We already know that because for blue we created the same one. Now for green we are creating the same. So if I refresh this route again, we should be able to see the CI/CD production here. So see that there are two routes now. So if I click on CI/CD green, I'll open in a new tab. I'll open green. It should show my green app, right? So it shows green app version 2.0. Now if I hit on the CI/CD production, see that it shows green sometimes and it shows blue. So it's in round robin fashion. So it shows blue and green interchangeably, right? So that is how Pivotal Cloud Foundry redirects your instance to blue or green based on your request, and Go Router takes care of redirecting this request to different applications. Since the CI/CD production is pointing to the both the green and the blue, we are getting these interchangeably. Now if we remove the mapping to the blue instance from the CI/CD, then the green instance alone should be shown from this. So let's go and remove the mapping. In order to remove the mapping, we have to do a cf unmap route with the same names. So we have to remove the routing for CI/CD blue and cf apps.io. The name which we have to remove is CI/CD-production. So we're going to remove CI/CD production from the CI/CD blue app. So see that CI/CD production has been removed from CI/CD blue. Now if I hit the production URL, I'll be always getting green. So I won't be getting blue at all. Just to cross check it, let's go to the deployment and then see what are the different routes for CI/CD blue. And there is only one route. See this, there is only one route. Now if I need to stop this instance, you can do a cf stop. I can do cf stop, or I can do it from the UI as well. I can do cf stop -ci- blue. So this will totally stop my application. So let me go here to the development. See that the CI/CD blue has been stopped. Now if we leave this particular space in this particular state, what happens is people who are going to deploy again will get confused which one is blue and which one is green. So in order to do that, we are going to rename the green to blue. So what we can do is we can rename the app using cf rename, and we're going to rename it green to blue. So we're going to rename the green app to the blue app. So the app name is already taken. This is because we already have the app. So we can do a delete app CI/CD-blue. So we can do a cf delete. So we need to delete the CI/CD-blue. So we can use the cf delete to delete it. Now if I go to the console, I won't see this particular app here. I can see only CI/CD green. Now in order to rename this, we will use the same command cf rename CI/CD-green to CI/CD-blue. Now the rename is successful. See that the renaming is successful, and if I refresh this particular UI, the console, we should be able to see the new app name. See that the new app name is CI/CD-blue. However, the route is still CI/CD-green. You can in fact even use the routing command to route it. So let's do that as well. See, we have to do a map route again to rename the route. So we will do a map route CI/CD-green. So we will map the green cf apps.io to hostname CI/CD-blue. So we are mapping green to blue for the route, and we will remove the green route. In fact, I am going to rename this to blue because we had the blue route, right? I need to rename this to blue because blue is the name of the application. However, we do not have the route for it. So we are just creating the route for blue and blue, right? So it says blue already exists. And let's do an unmap route for the green one. So let's remove the unmap on the green app. So let's do the green here. So this will remove the green one on the console. So let's go to the refresh. So let's go to the routes and then refresh the console. Now we should be able to see only two routes, CI/CD blue and CI/CD production. See that the removing of CI/CD green was successful. So this is how you can get back to the same state where it was, and this is the green application. So if I refresh, so I'll just summarize what we did as a part of this particular video. So we had an application called CI/CD blue. We created it with a blue endpoint, and then we deployed that application. We created a routing rule called CI/CD production, and we deployed a new application called CI/CD green. We created a routing rule for the CI/CD green by pointing to the same CI/CD production, and we saw that the URLs were flipping between blue and the green. So the routing rules were flipping across these two instances in round robin fashion. Now in order to bring the blue down, we removed the route and then we deleted the app, and then we renamed the green back to blue, and finally we added the route of blue and unmapped the route of green. So this is how you can do a blue green deployment. The platform will make sure that you don't have any downtime because it's going to redirect all your requests to the new instance. And if there is a request which is stuck with the old instance, it will not kill the process until the request is completed. So this is how you can leverage the Pivotal Cloud Foundry instance to do Blue Green deployment. In the next video, we will see how to automate this using the Jenkins build pipeline. As always, if you like the video, go ahead and like it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to it. Meet you again in the next video. Thank you very much.